A very warm welcome to all the attendees. My name is Rashika and I'll be the moderator during today's webinar. The topic of today's discussion is how to unify data, analytics, and AI for faster decision making. The presenters of today's webinar are Gaurav Ding, Head of Intelligent Automation at Exponentia, and Rabontika Nath, Pre-Sales Associate at Exponentia. I'd like to mention a couple of instructions before we begin the session. All the participants will be kept on mute during the webinar. However, we would like to keep this session interactive. For this, we'll have poll questions in short intervals during the webinar. Kindly submit your response within 30 to 40 seconds. We will also have a question and answer session at the end. You may raise questions anytime in the chat box during the session and we'll answer them in the end. Since all of us are working remotely, there can be some technical difficulties that we may face, so kindly bear with us. With this, I'd like to invite Rabontika to begin the webinar.
Thank you so much, Rashika, for this introduction. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining into today's session. I'm Rabontika. I'm a part of the pre-sales team at Exponentia.ai. As we start today, we will have a glimpse of our agenda first. For our newer audience, we will start with a quick introduction about our organization. After that, we will discuss the needs of an unified platform for data analytics, data management, and adoption of AI. Up next, we will come up with a solution and discuss the key functionalities of our solution. We will also have a quick demonstration of the platform. After that, we will showcase and discuss a case study with you all, and we will wrap the session up with a live demonstration of our customer intelligence platform. We will start with a quick introduction about our organization. Exponentia is an AI tech company headquartered in Mumbai. We provide services to solve complex business problems with our industry-ready solutions across cloud services, business intelligence, customizable machine learning models, and artificial intelligence algorithms. We enhance our customer engagement journey by utilizing cognitive capabilities of our solutions. In the era of automation, we have extended our partnership with Automation Anywhere to channelize intelligent automation using bots. We have also introduced our product Engagely with a conversational bot platform available in multiple languages, and it has inbuilt features of scalability, security, and intelligence. Currently, we are a team of 200 plus analytics professionals working together towards fulfilling our mission based on our core values of customer focus, excellence, integrity, and agility. We have also extended our footprint in other geographies in London and Singapore. Here we celebrate our partnership with leading industry players Qlik, Microsoft, Databricks, AWS, Automation Anywhere, and Cloudera. Next, we can see here is a list of the organizations who have been a part of our journey. It is quite evident that we have been associated with best of the best industry leaders, and we are fortunate to be a part of this experience. We offer services across AI and data value chain. We provide services across several points of data value chain, where we provide advisory services to help organizations bring business value from data. We have our sales enablement platform, OneTap, as ready-to-go business solution for sales. We curated our own machine learning models on product recommendation, churn analytics. We have also partnered with Databricks for helping our customer to leverage the unified capabilities of data integration, processing, and analytics. Our services also extend to creation of data lakes, data warehouses. We will discuss our offerings on this throughout the session. Our proposition on conversational analytics and process automation include conversational AI bots, and we aim to automate other repetitive jobs. With this, we will start with the main attraction of our today's discussion, and Gaurav will help us and walk us through the need of the unified platform. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Rabontika. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gaurav. I head the Intelligent Automation and Azure practice within Exponentia. As you all know, the subject of today's webinar is data platform which unifies the different capabilities under one umbrella. With that said, let's look at how our current data landscape looks like. Okay, so over a past decade or so, you must have come across these areas, these terms, these technologies called data warehousing, data marts, data lake, a relatively recent concept, streaming data processing, structured, unstructured, semi-structured data, artificial intelligence and machine learning. All of these are very familiar terms to all of us by now, and they have been evolving over last 10 to 12 years. While these technologies have been evolving, it poses a great challenge in the data landscape. Let's look at the challenge that we all deal with in our organizations. So you'd see that there are four primary verticals in the data ecosystem, namely data warehousing, a team who develops, maintains, manages; data engineering team, who is predominantly on the ETL, extract, transform and load of the data; and the streaming team, which takes care of the live data streaming through to the platform; and then finally the set of people who leverage the data to bring meaningful insight by using machine learning, and we call them data scientists. They have different processes and tools and techniques to do their job. These tools and technologies that they use um, are varied in nature. They could be cloud native technologies, they could be open source, they could be things like Hadoop, or could be Apache tools like Spark, Kafka. Or on the machine learning side, you would be making use of things like MATLAB or Azure ML Studio or SageMaker. So number of different tools to make use of to fulfill the task which is aligned to these areas. And as you could see, the red lines, which is really depicting that the data flows from one area to another area. It needs a strong collaboration, coordination, movement and governance of data across these different tools and technologies. And there would be a barrier, as you could see, between these teams, which is a soft barrier to make sure that the data is available to the right people at the right time in the right format, right? So it makes the data ecosystem fairly complex and difficult to manage and leverage it for the ultimate use of getting the insights from the data. So with that challenge, I'm sure all of us are well abreast with. What is the solution that we all should be looking forward to, which would help simplify this whole ecosystem and makes it much more manageable and efficient? So if you could see on the slide, this is how we would envisage a system where your data engineering, your analytics, BI teams, your real data application engineers and your data scientists, they all should be able to work under one unified platform where they all have the access to the same data that gets stored in something called data lake, and they can do their job. And also, if you could see underneath, the structured, semi-structured, or whatever the nature of data could be, is all getting stored into a data lake system. And a platform which is not really bound to a specific cloud platform. It should be portable, which gives more flexibility and freedom to the customers, whether you are an AWS customer and you want to move to Azure tomorrow, vice versa, or any cloud of your choice. We would like to have that flexibility where the portability is available. So this is a kind of solution I'm sure a lot of us would be looking forward to solve the challenge we have in the data ecosystem. Okay, so here is a leading solution that is available in the market. Some of you may have heard about it, and that solution is called Databricks. Let's talk a little bit about Databricks and see what are the key attributes and feature and how it solves the challenge we have on the data ecosystem. So the first slide, if you see, is really showing the simplicity of the platform, and it brings all the capabilities, technical capabilities that are required to be used, whether it is on data engineering side, whether it is on SQL analytics or BI, or it is to do with the real-time data processing, or it is to do with the machine learning capabilities. All of these capabilities, along with the feature of data lake and something called Delta Lake, a new term in the industry, which is a much enhanced version of a data lake, which provides and supplements the capabilities of data lake further. So this is a simplified architecture or simplified system that is enabled by Databricks. Another important attribute to look at is Databricks is making use of all the open source and highly popular and successful projects in the IT industry, be it a Delta Lake, MLflow, which provides support for the machine learning, or Apache Spark, which is very popular in last 10-15 years to do much faster data processing in the memory, whether it is a file format that is used as a Parquet, the columnar storage, or making use of Colas, which provides a very easy code migration or code adaptability between Python pandas to something called Delta, or it is Python, right? So all of the tools or components which are used by Databricks, they are all open source, and therefore you are not really bound by any service provider's license agreement. It provides a great collaboration. We'll see this in little more detail in few minutes, where the data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, whether they are building model or data analysts who are trying to visualize data, build dashboards, or the data engineers who are trying to write code in notebooks on the data, which is what is used by all the three areas, three set of teams. All of that is available under one single workspace and one single platform for them to leverage this. So with that said, Databricks brings the simplicity, it brings the openness in terms of the open source projects, and it brings the higher degree of collaboration across the teams. So let's try and again answer the question, what really is a Databricks? Just to make it very clear, Databricks is not a data warehouse. It is not competing or replacing data warehouses such as SQL or Synapse Data Warehouse or Redshift. It is not a data warehouse. Then what it is an Apache Spark based implementation, and a matter of fact, the creator of Apache Spark are the same people who have developed this platform called Databricks. So it's Apache Spark based implementation which provides real-time data processing and batch data processing at a much faster scale and speed. It provides the environment for the data scientist to develop the machine learning models and execute, deploy them. And lastly, there is a storage layer called Delta Lake, which we spoke about, which provides additional capabilities over and above data lakes that we use currently. So this is in nutshell what is a Databricks. Now we will look at the portal and get some real feel of what Databricks really looks like and how does it really integrate different capabilities and collaboration. But before we do that, let's have a quick poll question, and then I will hand it over to Rabantika for showing the portal.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for providing us with the details and giving us the reasons why we should adopt Databricks. And now we will have a walkthrough of the Databricks platform. So this is the home page that is on screen for all of our audience. Here on the home page, we have on-screen shortcut keys to create a new notebook, to create table, to create new cluster, or to create new MLflow experiment. On a single click on this new notebook option, we can create a notebook. We can provide a name to them and we can select the default language. Right now, Python, Scala, SQL, and R, these 4 languages are available in Databricks, and we can simply create on notebook here. This way, we can also create a table, create new cluster. Again, we can access any of the available or recently accessed document. Either it can be notebook or any other file that by clicking onto the Recents tab and clicking on each of the files. Maybe I can open the demo file on a single click. So why Databricks is called a unified platform? Because we have all the data related activities to be performed on a single screen. We have at the left the home bar, the workspace bar, the Recents tab, the data tab, the clusters tab, jobs tab, and search tab. By clicking on the home icon, we can see all the users activated in the environment. We can access again the recent files. Once you go to the workspace, we can have a look at the shared workspaces and individual workspaces. In the shared workspace, we can collaborate with team and work on a single project. In this individual workspace, we can see the files that have been allocated to be accessed by the single user or the individual. In the Recents tab, again, we can access all the files that have been accessed recently or edited or modified. Once you go to the Data tab, we have the option to create a new table. We can simply import a table from the desktop by clicking on this Browse option. So I am importing this table, train demo. We can also get a table linked to Amazon S3 bucket by using this option. We can also access the previously uploaded tables from this DBFS tab, where we can go to the file store. We can access all the tables. We can select any one of the table. And we can go to this option at the bottom, create table with UI, where we need to select a cluster and we can simply preview the table. Here we can see the preview of the table. We also have these options, putting first row as header to insert the schema out of the table likewise. We have also other data sources to be integrated. We have these options for Amazon Redshift, Amazon Kinesis, Cassandra, Snowflake, JDBC Connector, Kafka, and so on. After loading the data and doing the pre-processing on the notebook, we can also export our important visualizations via partner integrations. Databricks has partnership with Qlik, Fivetran, InfoWorks, Stitch, with all such companies, which can provide us with seamless integration with any of them, and we can export our results to those platforms. Next, going to the Clusters tab, here we can create a new cluster. On a single click, we can provide a cluster name. We can select the runtime version and we can simply click on the Create Cluster option. We also have two such categories of the clusters: all-purpose clusters and job clusters. All-purpose clusters are to work on teams where people can collaborate under one cluster. You can add user, you can remove user, you can provide several access permissions to the users. And the job clusters are for scheduling jobs. Now we have covered almost all important icons from here. We will see how a notebook works and how we can easily export visualizations from notebooks, and also how Databricks enable us for storytelling. One key part of Databricks is every time you wish to run a notebook, you have to connect to an attached cluster. At the top of the screen, now the cluster has been detached, and now it is connected to the webinar demo cluster. You can change, you can move to other clusters also, you can move your notebook to other clusters also, you can detach as per your requirement. So here we are using we are using sales data from several years, year 2013 to 2017. Here we can see a tabular format of the data. Just on a single click, we can see the bar chart of the data. And if we wish to change the visualization, we have these options for bar chart, scatter chart, map chart, line chart, area chart, and so on. So we can change the charts as we need. We can also export or download this table in CSV format. If we wish to show all the charts or all the insights generated in the tab, in the notebook, in a dashboard, we can also export them. We need to click on the Show in Dashboard menu. Here we'll be able to see all the available dashboards in your notebook. You can also add a new dashboard. Now we have two dashboards open with. Yes, so this is a dashboard that I was talking about, where all the insights or all the visualizations from the notebook is available on a single screen. We can also enable storytelling by clicking on this present button, where we can provide presentation to any management or any other governing body on the visualizations. With this, we have almost covered all the fundamental features of Databricks that can be very useful for our everyday life. And I will hand it over to Gaurav, who will walk us through the solution architecture of Databricks. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Rebontika. That was very informative, and I'm sure everybody could relate to the things that Databricks get to the people in the data ecosystem, and how things can get more collaborative in nature. So with that said, let's look at a couple of slides which are around what is under the hood in Databricks. So if you could see the slide, it shows that in the Databricks, the lowermost layer is all your data, whether it's structured, semi-structured, batch, or streaming data. And all of this data can be stored on any data lake. It can be stored on any data source or any cloud. On top of this data lake, there is a layer of Delta Lake. Again, it's an optional layer. You could have a Delta Lake to further enhance the capabilities of your existing data lake in terms of enabling the ACID properties of the transactions. The data can be modified, maintained, and managed. or it also helps in performance improvement of your data processing, which is stored in the data lake. So the data lake provide the additional capabilities to enhance the data processing, which is stored on your traditional data lakes. On top of that, there is a Delta engine. Delta engine is highly optimized Spark based engine, which improves the data access patterns, and it improves the accessing of the data through various APIs which are available in the different languages. If you saw in the previous demonstration, it could be an R language, it could be a Python, it could be Scala or Java. The different APIs are available to do the task, whether the task is in the area of SQL analytics, or it is in the area of data engineering, which is ETL or live streaming data processing, or the task could be of the machine learning task, training and deploying the model. All of these tasks can be performed in a much faster and efficient manner, making use of the different APIs that are available, and these APIs are further optimized by making use of Delta engine as a layer in between. So with that said, if we want to look at how Databricks would be placed in a typical enterprise data architecture, this is a reference architecture which is making use of Azure components, but the same can be leveraged if you want to make use of an AWS as a cloud platform. The components will change from Azure to the AWS equivalent. If you see on the left hand side, there are variety of different data sources, different type of data from structured, semi-structured, or it could be batch or a streaming data coming out of your IoT devices, sensors, or any other live data feeding into it. On the step one, which basically is getting the data feed from the sources. In case of an live data or streaming, it will be fed through the Azure Events Hub, or it could be Kafka. In case of a batch data, it will be fed to Azure Data Factory, which will kind of process that initial data and store that in the raw format in the blob storage or Azure Data Lake. On the step 2, you would see the Databricks comes into the play, which then works on the streaming data, or it works on the raw format data is stored in the blob storage, having a Delta format on top of that, and process that data across the layers to refine this data from a bronze layer to a silver layer to a gold layer in the step number 3. The data processing, as we discussed before, gets faster by leveraging Delta format on top of the data lake. Then you have Databricks, which would provide the machine learning capabilities by making use of ML Flow, or you could also leverage Azure Machine Learning Studio. And finally, the processed data gets stored in the step 4, as you could see, in one of the database or data warehouses, which could be a Cosmos DB. Provides multiple format of databases, to SQL, to Cosmos, to different data sources formats, or it could be in a multi-node data warehouse architecture supported by Azure Synapse. So whatever the data source or the destination could be, it finally is consumed in the step 4 by various visualization or reporting tools such as Power BI, or it could be Tableau or Qlik or SAP BO. So whatever may be the visualization and reporting tools, they consume the data, which is all generated, curated, produced by Databricks in the center. So that said, before we talk about one of the case study, let's have a poll question. I'm sure you all can see the question on your screen. We'll just wait a few more seconds and close the poll. Okay, thanks for providing your answers to the poll question. Let's talk about one of the case study which has leveraged Databricks as the solution. It's a simple case study which is around the ETL processing, a very familiar problem that a number of customers face is with the legacy systems which are using the traditional RDBMS systems and the ETL processes that have developed over a period of long time and has become more and more complex and not really scalable anymore. And we want to get ourselves into a faster decision making using the data that we have available, but there are bottlenecks that are faced with the old systems and old technologies being in use. So this is for a leading BFSI client. They were facing the similar challenge, and the critical ETL process, which runs on a nightly basis, takes about 10 to 12 hours on every day, and sometimes it goes even higher, and it starts to impact the day process, which is a transaction system, and it also delays the reports which goes out to the customer for their decision making. So the simple objective for this case study was that the client wanted to reduce the ETL time from what it was taking to almost 1/10 of the time, and thereby improve the performance 10 times, and also without really increasing the cost, so with the same cost or a lesser cost. That's been the objective. We leverage the Databricks as a solution, Spark based, in memory and highly scalable tool, and some code optimization techniques put together really helped improve the ETL processing time from what it was before 11 hours to almost an hour or less, which is 11 times improvement that we had seen. And the cost of the infrastructure also has reduced to what they were paying before to what Databricks consumes or costs, because Databricks is simply pay as you go mode. You can spawn a cluster of as many nodes as you want with a higher capacity of 4 core or 8 core or even 16 cores or higher, and use it only for a duration of that 1 hour or 2 hours that you need it for, and then you stop paying for that compute capacity that you need at the time of running these complex processes. So with that, I would like to hand it over to my colleague Samkit for demonstrating a solution that we have built for the client, and we'll be able to see it in live. Over to you, Samkit.
Sure, Gaurav. Thank you. So, yeah, I'll be taking you through the demo of the portal which we have made for one of our clients. Yeah. So basically, this is the portal which we have created for one of the clients for ease of use for the business users. So this is basically, there are different modules where the business user can leverage different use cases, but the main use case which I would like to talk about here is the lookalike analysis. So generally what happens, we have that machine learning model backend, and there are very technically complex items which we develop, but for ease of use for the business users, we have created this portal which leverage the Databricks and the scalability of Databricks. So basically, earlier when we implemented this particular solution for the client in normal machine learning. So it used to take around 1 hour. Now we have implemented the same module in our Databricks solution, so where it reduced the time to around 20 minutes. So that is the functionality which I would like to walk you through. Here we have provided one input file where we are achieving a lookalike analysis of the clients. So a business user simply needs to input a file which is which the business user thinks that these are the customers I want to have for my next upcoming marketing campaign. So now user just needs to click on the execute button against the file which he has already provided the input as, and it's within the simple click of a button, the entire model will get executed. I'll just click on this. You'll get a message here, execution pipeline started. And with simply a click of a button, the user will be able to achieve the result of entire machine learning module. If I can show you here, the pipeline which I just triggered, we have used Azure Data Factory for triggering the pipeline. This pipeline also uses the Databricks. So if you can see here, this is the model execution which I just started right now. It's showing 12:43, and if I click on that, it will show you the steps which we are performing in this particular pipeline. So if you can see here, it's a Databricks notebook which we have aligned, and it gets triggered here. So this is the model execution pipeline we have, and that is getting run here. So here basically the client will be having a very ease of use with this portal, and they can simply achieve their machine learning model through a click of a button. And we also have one feature importance which we are showing them. So this will tell the business users that what all attributes are impacting my model. So this is the importance of the attributes which we are showing here. Let's say status inquiry is the highest. So one of the attributes which we have for the customer profiling, for the lookalike analysis. So that we are showing here all the weightage of all the features. Also, we are showing the accuracy that we have achieved in the machine learning model. That is accuracy, what we call rate, and the other statistics along with the output. Yeah, so this is kind of exciting solution which we have implemented for one of our clients. So if you would just do let us know if you would like to have this particular exciting solution for yourself or your organization as well. So with this, we will come up with a poll question again, and please let us know that whether if this exciting solution if you want to achieve. Yeah. So I think you must be able to view the poll question. Everyone has responded to the poll question by now. Yeah, then okay, I would like to hand it over to Rashika now. Rashika, over to you.
Thank you, Samkit, and thank you everyone for your responses. The floor is now open for Q&A session. So you may pose a question in the chat box. We'll take it up. Okay, so we have a question. Someone asks, where does Databricks store all the data?
Thanks, Rashika. Let me answer that question. So Databricks does not store any data within its own premises, but the entire data gets stored in the client's own cloud environment. So whether it is Azure, it will be stored in data lake, Azure data lake, or a blob storage. In case of an AWS, it will be stored in S3, and these data sources gets an integrated or connected to the Databricks environment. So Databricks is not really storing any data. It is only fetching data, processing it, and putting it back into the data sources.
We have one more question. The question is Databricks available on premises?
That's a good question, and I'm sure some of the clients are concerned about going to the cloud with the data security and all. But the key feature that Databricks bring to the table is on-demand scalability. And on-demand scalability really means choice of number of clusters, number of nodes in the clusters from 4 to maybe 100 nodes, and with a varying capacity, you spawn those clusters when you need them for your workload. And that is something which is only possible with cloud supported infrastructure, and you can't really have that enabled on an on-prem system. So Databricks is completely cloud supported platform. It does not support on-prem.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav.
Okay, while we are waiting for more questions and we have some time left at hand, if you could look at the slide, one of the slide that shows how Databricks works in the collaboration of Synapse, and as more questions come through, we can answer them. This is the last slide. Yeah, it's a slide 28. If you can bring it up. So as we await for more questions, just a quick glimpse, and this is a question that we have typically heard from a number of clients who are on the Azure users, as to how does Databricks and Synapse compete or work together with each other. So this slide shows a quick comparison or a collaboration. Databricks is a very powerful data engineering and data science platform, whereas Synapse provides, it's a data warehouse, it stores data, and it provides very quick access to the data, to the queries, which are analytics queries. So if you need to run a quick analytic query, get the results from Synapse, it will be much faster. Whereas Databricks is something which is meant for a very heavy workload. It deals with structured, unstructured, semi-structured, all kind of data formats, and you can run a very complex ETL or machine learning workload on Databricks. Whereas on Synapse, the queries will run super fast. It provides a very high concurrency. Number of users can be connected to the Synapse at the same time, and they can get a faster access to the data stored in Synapse. So just wanted to give this quick comparison. Databricks very well integrates with Synapse as a data source, and it provides you the capability that it provides working with Synapse as the data warehouse. So hope that was helpful, and these two technologies together can really power up your business insight, taking help of the data, and the final end result could be shown on the dashboards with the tools like Power BI or Tableau or any other visualization and reporting tools. So they can very well work in conjunction with each other, supplementing their capabilities to each other. Thank you.
And we have one more question. So the question is, any case study of Databricks in pharmaceutical segment?
Sure, Rashika, let me address that question. So yes, Databricks, as you could see, has got a lot of use cases across. It is industry agnostic, so to say. For a pharma industry, we could have use cases such as fraud prevention or clinical data analysis, which also is a very time consuming process, and it's mostly a batch process that can be simplified and made faster using Databricks. There could be also analytics required on the hospital operations or clinic operations data on a day-to-day basis, which can also be processed using Databricks, identify certain patterns in the uses of services, and get the useful insights which can help them in inventory management, prediction of the demand, or it can also help them detect certain kind of anomalies in the data or in the uses of the services to figure out where there could be chances of fraud. So there are multiple use cases on pharma industry that can be solved using Databricks.
Thank you, Gaurav. Are there any more questions? Anyone? Okay, so since we do not have any more questions, so we'll be closing the discussion. But you may reach out to us anytime through our website, LinkedIn page, or mail us at engage@exponentia.ai. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good day.
Thank you everyone for attending.